Dear students, today we are going to discuss the language components based on the poem Questions from a Worker Who Reads, written by Bertolt Brecht. In the previous sessions, we had seen the introduction to the poet, the analysis of the poem, and a brief discussion on the annotations and short questions. Today, in this session, we are going to have a detailed discussion on the different language aspects which are prescribed to you in the text. To start with, we have 5 categories of language components prescribed to you. The first one is punctuation. The second one is framing questions. Third one is using of negatives. And the fourth one is linkers. And the last one is comprehension passage. Now, when we come to the punctuation, as it's already mentioned in the previous sessions, we need to concentrate on the most commonly used punctuation marks. Those are capital letter, full stop, comma, inverted commas, both single and double, question mark, and exclamatory mark. So these are the most commonly used punctuation marks. So whenever a sentence is given to you, focus on these commonly used punctuation marks and try to use them at the appropriate places. Now, to start with, look at the first sentence. This is given in the text as well. In her opinion, Queen Roberta's favorite museum in the world is the Smithsonian, which she visited during her trip to Washington DC last year. So not many punctuation marks are found here. So we need to add the appropriate punctuation marks. If you can look at the sentence, the beginning letter is in small letter, so you need to make it capital. And Queen Roberta's is a proper noun where it takes a capital letter in the beginning. Now another name of the place, Smithsonian, that is also a proper noun, so that also takes the capital letter in the beginning. Another word is Washington. Washington also takes a capital letter in the beginning. And towards the end of the sentence, you are supposed to use a full stop. So all these punctuation marks are incorporated and given in the answer. Now when we move to the second sentence, even though the auditorium was packed, the audience remained silent. So you don't see any punctuation marks there. So as usual, the beginning of the sentence, it starts with the capital letter, even E capital, and after the word packed, you use a comma, because wherever you end your breath and start with the next part of the sentence, you usually use a comma. When you are reading a long sentence, wherever you take a breath in a meaningful giving a meaningful break for a sentence, there you are going to use a comma. For example, in this sentence, even though the auditorium was packed, so you give a short pause. Wherever you pause, there you are supposed to use a comma. So even though the auditorium was packed, the audience remained silent. So at the end of the sentence, full stop is used. Now moving to the next category of language components, framing questions. As we have already discussed earlier, questions are of 2 types, WH questions and yes/no questions. Whenever you get a sentence where you have to frame a question to get the underlined word as the answer, you are supposed to frame WH question. WH question will always start with a WH word. Now look at the first sentence. The young Alexander conquered India. So underlined word is the young Alexander. If you have to frame the question so that the young Alexander is the answer, your question would be who conquered India, which is a WH question. Now moving on to the second sentence, Caesar is considered by many historians to be one of the greatest military commanders in history. Now here also you are supposed to frame a WH question, because the instruction given in the brackets is frame a question so as to get the underlined words as answers. So wherever you get such sentences, WH question is your answer. So the answer is this way. Who is considered by many historians to be one of the greatest military commanders in history? Whenever you are framing sentences, keep one thing in mind. The tense should be the same in both question and answer. Now moving on to the third sentence. The Masons went home after building the Great Wall of China. So here also, to get the underlined word as the answer, we need to frame a WH question along with retaining the tense in the sentence. The Masons went home after building the Great Wall of China. So the question would be, where did Masons go after building the Great Wall of China? So it's a WH question and the tense, which is past tense, is also retained. Now the fourth one, the theme of the poem is our biased notions of history. Now when you frame the question for this particular sentence, what is the theme of the poem will be the right answer. Now here also we are framing WH question and the tense, which is past tense is present tense, is also maintained. Now moving to the fifth question. Philip of Spain wept because his ships drowned. Now here again, WH question is the question to be framed. Why did Philip of Spain weep? Past tense is retained in both the question and the answer. Now the sixth one is a different kind of a question to be framed. Yes, they are visiting Paris. Convert into yes no question. So till the fifth sentence we were framing WH questions. Now the instruction is to frame yes no question. So again, as we had discussed earlier, yes no questions will always start with the helping verbs or the auxiliary verbs. Which are the verbs which function as helping verbs? It can be either a be verb or a have verb or a do verb or a modal. Now here in this particular sentence, be verb is the helping verb with which we start the yes or no question. Yes, they are visiting Paris. Are they visiting Paris? Becomes the yes no question. Now the seventh sentence, no, she doesn't speak English. Again yes no question. Doesn't she speak English? She doesn't speak English becomes doesn't she speak English? You will have to reverse the order of the words for framing questions. A very simple way of framing a question. If you can observe, even without you don't know the basics of grammar, a keen observation of the sentence will help you to frame sentence in a crude way. She doesn't speak English. She doesn't. If you change the order, doesn't she speak English becomes a question. So that is a way you need to think about or observe keenly. So this is about framing questions. Now moving on to the next category, use of negatives. Now in the topic use of negatives, you need to concentrate on the word not, no, never. These are the negative words. So when the sentence has these words, if you have to change it to affirmative sentence, remove those words. If you have to make a negative sentence, add one of those words. That is the logic behind. Now look at the first sentence. Their tears moved his heart. So convert into negative sentence. So if you have to convert into negative sentence, a word not to be added. At the same time, the tense should be retained. Their tears moved his heart. Moved, it is in past tense. So past tense should be retained in your answer as well, along with adding the word not. So the answer is, their tears did not move his heart. Now the second sentence, my brother does not earn $200 a week. Not word exists, so it's already a negative sentence. Now the instruction is convert into an assertive sentence, a positive sentence. Now the answer is you have to remove the word not and use the same tense, that is present tense, and give the answer. My brother earns $200 a week. Now the third sentence, the islanders were warned about the impending storm. Now, in the sentence, you don't see any negative word. So, it is an affirmative sentence. You need to change it into negative. That is the instruction. So, to change it to negative, use the word not and give the answer. At the same time, retain the tense. The tense in the sentence is islanders were warned, past tense. Same past tense should be retained in the answer also. The islanders were not warned about the impending storm. Now the next sentence, the house does not need a strong foundation. So the word not exists, so it's already a negative sentence. Convert into assertive sentence. For that, you have to remove the word not and retain the tense, which is present tense. The house needs a strong foundation. This is how you need to think. A very simple logic you need to apply and you will get the answer easily. Now the next category of language components is linkers. Linkers are nothing but conjunctions, and the sentences will be given with blanks, and below the sentences you will be given a set of linkers or conjunctions. You will have to pick the right linker and fill in the blank. The answer is already given in the slide. He is both a singer and a drummer. The youth succeeded as he made a sincere effort. I like cricket, but my brother loves football. Though she was intelligent, she failed. In the examination, you will get the blanks, and below the sentences, just like you see here, within brackets, a set of linkers will be given. Pick the right linker and fill in the blank. Now the last category of language components is comprehension passage. You will get a small passage to comprehend, in the sense read, understand and answer the questions based on them. Now this passage, which is picked from the text, you can see it. Read the following passage and answer the questions that follow. Now the passage goes this way. Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya was an Indian educationist and politician, notable for his role in the Indian independence movement and as the president of Indian National Congress. He was respectfully addressed as Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya and was also addressed as Mahamana. Mahamana is remembered as the founder of Banaras Hindu University at Varanasi in 1916. It is the largest in the world, having over 40,000 students across arts, science, engineering, medical, agriculture, performing arts, law and technology from all over the world. He was the Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University from 1919 to 1938. Malviya was one of the founders of Scouting in India. He also founded a highly influential English newspaper, The Leader, published from Allahabad in 1909. He was also the chairman of the Hindustan Times from 1924 to 1946. He was posthumously conferred with Bharata Ratna. Now, based on this particular passage, you can see a few questions which are given here. Now, the questions can be either referential or inferential questions. Referential questions are those for which you can get the answers directly from the passage. You can literally pick the sentences and then use it as an answer. Inferential questions are those for which you can't get the answers directly, but you have to read, understand and frame your own answer. That is inferential. So it can be a mixture of both referential and inferential questions based on the passage. Let's see the first question. What was Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya? The answer is Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya was an Indian educationist and politician, which is readily seen in the passage. So this is a referential question. Second one, how is Malviya associated with Banaras Hindu University? He is remembered as the founder of Banaras Hindu University at Varanasi in 1916. So this sentence is also taken exactly and directly from the textbook, from the passage. So this question also can be considered as a referential question. Now the next one, what does the word posthumously mean? Now this question takes the answer as posthumously means after the death. Now this answer you can't get it from the text. The word posthumously is used in the passage, but the meaning of the word posthumously you cannot see in the passage. So you will have to find out for yourself and then give the answer. So such questions are called inferential questions. Now the next one, where is Banaras Hindu University located? Banaras Hindu University is located in Varanasi. So this is again directly picked from the passage. So this fourth question becomes a referential question. So I hope this is very clear to you, the difference between the referential and the inferential questions. Now if you look at the fifth question, name the newspaper founded by Malaviya. The newspaper founded by Malaviya was The Leader, published from Allahabad in 1909. Can you guess what kind of a question it is? Yes, it is a referential question because the answer is directly taken from the passage itself. So you don't have to think about the answer for this question. You can directly get it from the passage. I hope the language components are clear to you, because we have been discussing the different language components right from the poem 1. As it is a third poem, by now you must have got an idea about how to answer the different language components with confidence. Probably if we by the time we reach the last lesson, you would be totally confident of answering all the language components and use that knowledge in your life and examination as well. Thank you very much.